Hi guys, Chad Troffgruben here. Welcome back to the Steve and the Alien tutorial series. We are now to the point where we want to start importing and piecing together audio files to complete the project. So where do you get audio files? Well, there are many places online in which you can do so, but there are two sites I will give you links to here that you may want to check out. The first is freesound.org. This website houses thousands of different sounds that are contributed by their members. And you can really come up here to your search box and search for whatever you wish. There are, again, many sounds that you can look through. And best of all, you can preview them right on the website. So I would definitely check that out and use that as an audio source. The second website is incompetech.com, which has many royalty-free music files that you can download and use for your projects. You just can click on the royalty-free music link right here, and you can then search for genres. You can search for a feeling of music, and you can filter things out like that, and that will provide you with some great music files, I'm sure you'll find out. To speed up this tutorial, I've went ahead and found all the files we need to use. But I will kind of explain to you which each file is, so you can search for files on your own if you're not going to be using my files. And one more thing, just to let you guys know, whenever you use a sound file or a music piece, make sure that it is royalty-free or that you have written permission from the creator to use it, because it's very important that you give credit to these creators for allowing you to use their works in your project. And additionally, if you have a credit sequence for your project, you may want to include all of the audio files that you used plus the creator names in the credits. You can also find out how to credit these creators. For instance, if you go to Music FAQ, he has a list of guidelines you can use to credit him in your projects, and freesound.org also has a similar section when you go to the help screen. There's a certain number of guidelines for listing sound creators for your film, so make sure that you do that. Okay, so moving on now to the actual project. I've opened up my project yet again, the one we just finished editing in the previous lesson. And the next thing I want to do is create an audio bin so I can store all my audio files in it. So on the left side here, I'll just right click and choose New Bin and name it Audio. Audio, not Osseo. There we go. And now right click on that bin and choose Import. I would recommend that you save all of your audio files in one folder like you did with your videos. That's what I suggested you do anyway. So I will then just grab all of these audio files and open them and import them into the project. So now you have all of the audio files, and we'll just start with the top of the list and kind of work our way down. The first audio file on the list is a metal hit sound. I basically searched for something like this so that we had a sound for when the alien kicks the door open. So let's go to that point now in the project, which is back a little bit ways, right about here. So he kicks the door open, we want a sound for that. So all I'll do is just grab that audio file and drag it down onto my timeline. Now it might push it down more than you're expecting. You might want to put it on the first audio layer, but it might go down here on the timeline. It just depends on the audio type and so on. But once I've done that, I can click the down arrow on that side to expand this out a bit more, and I can see what the wave file is doing. And right about here is when the sound starts, which is about right for us. So if I come back here and just play this, you can now see that he opens the door, and it has a sound effect according to it. The next sound on the list is an alien aircraft sound. I just found it again by searching for an alien aircraft on freesound.org. And we want this whenever the UFO appears. So let's go back here to the profile shot when our UFO drives by, or is chasing the van as it drives by, I should say. And right about here when the UFO appears, we can add in this sound effect. So I'll just click and drag that in to our timeline here. And if we page through, we can hear it, and it comes into play about right here on the WAV file. So I can just nudge it like that so that we can have the audio file start right away as opposed to having that delay, and then bring it in like this. And then we only want it to extend to the end of this clip. So I can just take my razor tool and just cut that and delete. So now we just have that portion and then just drag it back like that. So now it lasts just for that portion of the clip. And finally, another thing we can do too is we can add in some transitions for this audio. So if we come over here to the bottom of our panel here, you'll see that we have some audio transitions and a crossfade, and we can do a constant gain and an exponential fade. So let's take the constant gain and place it at the beginning and put the exponential fade at the end. So now, if we play this, you can see that it fades in and then fades out. And if you want, you can even adjust these transitions to shorten them so that they come in quicker or exit quicker. So we can try this. And that works. Next on the list is the machine gun. Now this is what we'll use, obviously, when the alien starts firing his weapon. So we'll come in here, we have the kick, and then about here he starts firing the weapon. So let's now drag that audio file into the timeline. And you'll notice that the audio file I brought in is split up. We have about 6 shots, and then it pauses, and then there's 6 shots, and so on. So what we'll do here is crop this and just try to move all of those instances of shooting closer together so it sounds almost constant. So I'll expand my timeline here to zoom in, and first I'll just nudge this back so that the audio starts at about the time he starts firing his weapon. So we're about right here. That'll work. Okay. And now, as we play this, we have the audio playing. And again, we have this gap now. So we want to just get rid of that. So at about this point, I'll take my razor tool and cut. And also cut right about here. And then take my cursor and just delete that cut and bring it in like this. So it's pretty constant. And now we'll do the same for this portion. Let's come over here and cut. And then cut the end like that. And then delete that silence in between and bring it in like this. Okay. And then one more. We'll just cut right here. Cut right about there. And that ends about right because it ends and then we have Steve cutting back. So now we can just cut here and get rid of the rest of this audio file because there's really no longer a use for it. Okay. Next up on the list is the ricochet, as you can see by the description. What I found here, again, I searched for bullet ricochet on Freesound, and I found an audio file that contained 4 ricochet sound effects in one file. So we'll basically have to edit it similar to how we edited this machine gun fire sound effect right here. So let's back up and go to the part where now the UFO is getting hit, because that's where the ricochets are going to come in. And I can bring in the bullet ricochet sound, and I might have to put it down a ways actually. So I'll scroll down here and put it right here. And then make sure I expand the audio timeline by just clicking that arrow. And then I can zoom in so we can see what we're doing here. So the ricochet starts right here, so we might nudge this back slightly. if we can. It's actually pretty close, so I think that'll work. So we have the ricochet right there, and we want to now split this clip up and put the ricochets closer together, because that's what's going to happen, because we have a ricochet there, then we have one right here. But our next ricochet sound doesn't start until here. So we just want to basically take the razor tool and cut right about there, and then delete the in-between stuff. And then we can just drag this down there. And then, of course, show the audio file like that. And now we'll do the same, just by cutting and cutting this part and deleting. And we want this ricochet to happen. It appears right about there. So we have that one go, and then we want that one to go. So we'll just nudge it down. And then we can even expand this out a little bit if we want, just to have some echo from that second ricochet take place. And then, see if we can move this. We'll have it start right about there because that's closer to where the ricochet takes place. And then, of course, we will cut and delete. And then the last, or the fourth ricochet starts there. And then we can move it down to there and expand. Now we have one more ricochet occur. So we'll just have to just recycle one of these sound effects, or we could go get a fifth sound effect if we wish. But this sequence happens so quick, I think we can get away with using one of the other sound effects. So I'll take the first one again and just click on it and hit copy by using Control-C. And I can zoom out here. I'm going to paste it at the end of the timeline, because sometimes when you paste an audio file in the middle, it can override some of your other sound effects. And I don't want that to happen, so I'll just be safe and paste it over there. And then I can come back in and place it where I need to place it. So I'll just come down here and zoom in again. Like that. And so we have the fourth ricochet happen right there. And then we can just bring this audio file in like that and zoom in a bit more. Maybe I can nudge it. It'll work right there. So now when we play this out, you can kind of hear the ricochets coming in. And again, it's very quick, but it is there. So next on the list, we have a crash sound for when the van is tumbling. And this particular sound I will add during the second hit. So we have it go like this, and then we have it hit the bottom like that. So right at that point, I will take this crash sound and bring it into the timeline and make sure that the first part of it, of course, matches close to my marker here. I'm just going to zoom in right there. So now when we play this out, we kind of have some of that coming in. And of course, we'll be adding more crashes because we need one there. Also, we need one there. So we'll be getting to that point though, but that is where we add that sound effect. The next one is another crash, and we actually use this one 3 times throughout the project. So I will just kind of shrink in here so I can take a look. We have it when he hits the bump in the road. We have it when he does his big crash, and then we have it also for when he does something else during that crash. So let's try to find the bump here. It happens right about here. So we can just take that sound effect and bring it in. And we'll want to use the end part for this, because you know you have this big sequence and then you have this little part. So we'll just shrink it up like that and bring it in like this. So obviously he hit something with his car, and that is a sound effect we will use. We'll now use the other portion of the sound effect when he hits the rock. So starting right here, we'll take that sound effect yet again from the bin and just bring it in. Make sure I'm not going to override anything here. Yeah, I don't want to put it there or else I'll override that sound, so I'll move it down like this. Make sure I go like that And then I can bring it in like this. So now, so we have the sound effect come in like that. And now we'll use that little sound portion again for when he hits right here. So what we'll do is just simply cut the one we just laid down, then grab our cursor and bring it over like this. Zoom in, cut it, and move it like that. And there we go. The next sound effect will be used whenever we see the vehicle driving or we have an inside shot of the car. We'll use two separate parts of the sound to do both of these things. So let's go back to the beginning. And then we have the pan, and then we see the car come. And right about here, we'll introduce the sound effect. So I will grab the sound effect and put it into the project file. And I got to make sure that I'm not going to override anything here. Let me just undo that really quick. Yeah, I don't want to override those ricochets, so I'll just try to bring the sound effect down like this so there's no intersecting with any of the other sounds. And I can put it in like this. And you'll notice that the file has pretty loud volume to it, and then it kind of goes quieter, and then it goes louder. We want the quieter portion for when we are animating out the outside of the car. So I'll just kind of come in like this and remove it like that. So now we just kind of have an idle sound for the car, but that will be introduced with other sound effects in a little bit to make it sound a little bit better. And we can also too put a fade on this and just shrink it like that. So then you kind of have it just fade out. Next, we want to put the same sound effect when we are inside the car, except now, of course, we want it to just be louder. So we'll bring in this chunk again, and we'll probably start right about here when it gets the loudest. Then bring it back like that, and have it last the duration of the clip. So we have the sound of a car driving. And now we'll do the same for when we have the alien shooting, because we see the outside of the car. So I'll just simply copy that quiet portion I cut out and then paste it at the end here, because as I said, it sometimes, as you can see, tries to override other sound effects. So then I can just shrink my timeline and just try to bring it down like this. Like here. Okay. Zoom in. Now I have the effect right here. And we'll have it last up until this point right here. Okay, now we want, of course, the loud portion back right there. So we'll just copy this and then paste. And of course, bring this down like so. And then put it in like this. And we may also want, just to give it some variety, we may want to extend this a little bit and then just shrink that a little bit. So it just sounds a little bit different than the previous one where we used it. And that kind of works too, because he hits the object and then he kind of slows down. At least that's what it sounds like what happens. So then we have another inside shot. So once again, we'll just need to paste that audio file and bring it down like this and like that. And bring it over where we need it which is right here. And then we'll have, of course, the last audio of that right here, where it's quieter. So we will then paste, bring it up, bring it down. And this portion will only last for a little bit, because there's going to come a point where the car is going to stop making noise, which will probably be about right here. And then we can just halt it like that. Now we do have a couple of other exterior shots, like when we see the car drive by, mostly, especially here as well. We will be using a different audio file for that, so you won't have to worry where that will go. So next on the list, we have a chewing sound effect, which of course we'll use when our character decides to eat the hamburger. I'm just going to mute this audio really quick so we can hear what we're doing. So he's looking, and then he takes a bite. So right about here, we will bring in the chewing sound effect, and we can put it below like this. Just like that. Okay. And then extend that out. And the chewing doesn't start until right about here. So we'll just have to kind of get rid of it like that. And in fact, we might even want to start a little bit further in where there's more chewing going on, right about here. We can just bring it back like that and go like that. And then the chewing lasts about that long, and then it stops. So we'll just cut it right where his mouth stops. And he looks. Okay. And of course, if we just bring that audio back that I muted and we add all that back in, you can kind of hear how this all goes. And that's how it works. The next sound effect is the finale crash, when we pretty much end the whole crash sequence. So let's come back here to the crash. Got a little bit ahead of myself here. So right about here, we will need to add the other crash in kind of around the same time we have this crash sequence in, because this crash we're about to bring in is longer and kind of goes with the whole sliding animation we have going on. So I'll just drag this in, make sure I'm not overriding anything, of course. Okay, we'll put it right here just to be safe, since that's where it kind of wants me to do it. And then we want the animation or the sound to sync with the animation right about here. So just like that. The next sound is when the van hits the road when ramping over the hill. So right about here, we will have a sound effect, which will be our next one, the metal crash. So I will just bring that in, bring it down right here. And of course, we'll want to trim this so the metal crash sound starts right where my marker is. So now, it's kind of a sound effect to indicate that it hit the road. Now the next sound on the list is the car passing sound, which we'll use for 3 of the scenes here. So let's back up here, and we want the car to make that passing sound at about this point. So we'll bring in the car passing sound. Make sure we don't override anything, of course. Let me zoom out here to make sure that we're clear and we don't intersect with that particular sound. Okay, we will. So we'll need to bring it probably down to another layer like that. Okay, and the sound effect occurs right there. So of course we'll need to bring this way back like that, and then bring it forward so we have it right there. And then we just have the like that. And we might actually want to trim it a bit. I'll get rid of, or mute I should say, this sound so we can hear a little bit better. I'll just trim the sound to about right there, and then we'll bring it in like that. Like that. That will work. And then we can bring the other one back in and just play it one more time. There we go. That is what we need. Now the next one will be when the car drives by right here. So we'll take that same sound effect and we will just apply it. So we'll come in here, and we know there's nothing on this layer since this is a new audio layer. So I can just bring it in like that. And of course, trim it. And then bring it in about here. And go like that. Okay. Then we have it happen one more time when we're right here, when he passes by the turn. So one more time, we'll bring that same sound effect in, trim it. You might even want to make it a little bit shorter this time, about like that, because the scene is shorter. And then go right there. And we can even reduce it like that. Okay, there we go. That is all of the passing shots that we have for the vehicle. Now I believe we have all the sound effects in. Let me just come back here and we can play the whole thing out really quick. Okay, I noticed a couple of things I forgot to add. I forgot to add the UFO sound in some of the shots, which is all right. We can do that right now. So let's come back here and find where all the UFO shots are. We, of course, have it right here, which is good. We need it right here. So let me just locate that spacecraft sound. And, of course, I can bring it in here. Make sure I don't override any sound effects. And then we'll just put it right here for that quick shot of the UFO. Like that. And then we want it one more time here at the end, especially when it comes in right here. So we'll grab this once more time and bring it in. And we'll just forward it a little bit here so we have the sound effect start right away. Make sure we go right here, and then we'll nudge it back. And then what we can do is when we get to the alien laying on the ground, we can take the split tool and just split the clip, and then split it at the end of that alien looking up sequence as well. And then split it here at the end, of course, and just remove that. And now what we can do is when the alien is looking up, we can double click on that audio file and go to our effect controls, go to the volume, and we can lower the volume of that a little bit. So that now it's because he is further away, you can kind of hear it, but then when we cut back, you can hear it more. So we can do that. And finally, for the van tumbling, I think I put an audio file in wrong. Because we hit... And we need a hit right there. I think I put this one in too late, so I'll just drag that back like that. There we go. That's what I need to do. So other than that, all of these sound effects are in. The final step is to add in the music. So let me just zoom out and I'll go all the way down and I'll grab my music and just put it in like this. I'm just going to do a little bit of editing with the music just so it lines some things up. I noticed near the end of the music, it kind of has that dent. I want it to end right there because that's a good way for me to end at least my portion of the animation. Your music may change because I want you to extend the ending, and I hope you do. But we'll end the music right there, so all I have to do is just zoom in here and just cut the music off right about here. And then I can move the music over like this. So now it'll end pretty close to that mark. And we can even maybe put it out a little bit more like this. And we can see how that works. I'll also lower the volume a little bit just by clicking on that yellow line and just dragging it down a little bit because we want the music lower than the audio files. So now I can go back here to the beginning and we can play this and see how it looks. And there we go. That worked out. The final step, I would recommend, that music might have been a little bit too low, so I can just nudge it up a bit like that. And you may want to go in and just adjust some more sound effects, like the UFO sound, for instance, for me, could probably be raised a little bit. In all cases, I could just probably raise that UFO sound up like that and like that, except for when, of course, we're showing the alien because we want that quieter. I could probably increase the ricochet shots because they're a little bit quiet. And you just want to go in and adjust the levels of your audio accordingly so it all sounds nice. It doesn't sound jarring. But once you've done that, we just go to File and Save, of course, because we just did a lot of work. We don't want it to go to waste. And next time, I will show you how to publish your movie. So I'll see you then.